Welcome to the Texas Gulf Coast. I've lived here, taught here, virtually my entire life. Everyone, every building, and every street corner here has a story, and I've set out to find them. I'm Professor John Britt of Lee College, and this is the history in your own backyard. The First Liberty National Bank has served its community for almost a century. Inside, you'll find people going about their business, making routine withdrawals and deposits. But just a few feet away sits a literal ton of a local legend, the Liberty Bell.
The bell at the mouth of the bell is 47 inches wide. The bell itself weighs about 2,016 pounds.
Local researcher Heather Savage showed us the bell and shared some of its long and fascinating story.
Of course, the bell symbolizes a little bit more, but it's a part of our American history.
With the exception of its infamous crack, the bell in Liberty bears a definite resemblance to another bell in Philadelphia. That bell has come to symbolize the sacrifices of many American national heroes. And this bell, in a small Texas town, has come to symbolize the struggle and sacrifice of two unlikely heroes, SALLIE and Nadine Woods. SALLIE and Nadine were born to a prominent local family in the 1920s. They led active lives in their community, but their world changed early in life. In 1944, SALLIE, Nadine, and their older sister Thelma were all diagnosed with muscular dystrophy.
They had struggled with some symptoms early on, and they were really unsure of what they had. Like, they would trip a lot, they would have problems with coordination with their muscles and things like that. And then they finally got diagnosed when they had started having some more severe problems. It's what's called progressive muscular dystrophy, which deteriorates the muscle. And at the time, there was no national muscular dystrophy research association.
Although they faced deteriorating health, the Woods sisters banded together and formed the Liberty Muscular Dystrophy Research Foundation in 1950. It was the first foundation devoted to muscular dystrophy research in the United States. The foundation was very successful in raising funds, awareness, and in starting the first national registry for people with muscular dystrophy. They were met with great approval throughout the nation, and former First Lady Mamie Eisenhower was the first president of the foundation. Despite the successes of the foundation, the Woods sisters still faced continual health challenges. In 1957, Thelma Woods passed away at the age of 44. SALLIE and Nadine continued their work for the foundation, and shortly after Thelma's death, they began work on what would become a lasting symbol for the fight against a devastating disease.
And they wanted to create a symbol for that foundation. And the Liberty Bell is what they created. The symbol means liberty from dystrophy.
SALLIE and Nadine decided that they wanted their bell to be as close a recreation as possible of the original Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. In 1960, they contacted the makers of the original bell, the Whitechapel Foundry in London, England.
Matter of fact, they didn't realize that the mold still existed and the cast still existed, and whenever it did, it was casted out of the same cast. They used the same stickle, which is the way that they mold the outer part of the shell. And so everything else is exactly the same as they did in the Philadelphia Bell, even the lettering down to the molding and everything.
An unusual cargo arrives in Houston, Texas. It's a replica of the famous Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, but without the crack.
The new bell was shipped from London to Liberty, Texas in 1960. And the official unveiling was greeted with national coverage. Several celebrities, including Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, were present for the event, and John Wayne christened the bell by ringing it 16 times. The bell was toured for several years throughout the state of Texas and the nation in an effort to raise funds for muscular dystrophy research.
It went as far as like New York and places like that, I know. After it did its tour around the United States, it came back to the Houston area, and I believe it was stored in a warehouse for a couple of years. And then once they were able to raise enough money for a bell tower in Liberty, then they brought it back to Liberty, and then it was put into a bell tower on the Gerald D. Humphreys Cultural Center.
SALLIE and Nadine continued to be active in the operation of their foundation, but their condition worsened. Nadine passed away in 1979, and SALLIE followed in 1984.
At this hour, the eye of Hurricane Ike is moving toward major population areas along the Gulf Coast.
Liberty, along with many other cities in the Texas Gulf Coast, was affected by Hurricane Ike in 2008. Because of storm damages, the bell tower was demolished, and in 2009, the bell was placed in storage. To celebrate the centennial of the first Liberty National Bank, the bell was placed on the bank's first floor, where it can be found today. Plans are currently underway to construct a new bell tower for this local treasure. And although the bell currently has no permanent home, it still stands as a powerful monument of two sisters' determination and of the battle that is still being fought against muscular dystrophy.